Hi, it's nice to be with you again. As you know, we've been taking some of these times for reflection to be working through that image of what it might be for this to be a desert time for us, to be walking through the desert with Jesus. Both Seth, the seminarian, and I dropped some videos on Monday. I did one on Lectio Divina. Seth did one on the imaginative prayer style of St. Ignatius. There were also some written links associated with those just to help us pray into the scriptures. The idea being that maybe we have some more time. We aren't as busy right now. So this could be a graced opportunity to develop our prayer life in a way that we haven't been able or willing to until now. One of the things I said yesterday, I firmly believe it. This is holy ground. And we can emerge from this time of social distancing, this time of pandemic, with a stronger faith life and a stronger relationship with our God. We may look back on it 20 years from now and say, it was a really hard time. But one of the fruits of it was that God became alive to me because I had time to know God in the Word. So that would be my invitation. So again, what's it mean for us to be journeying in the desert in these days? What I wanted us to pray with today were maybe two passages, and it's about the Red Sea, the parting of the waters and the passing of the people through the waters. So the first passage is the Red Sea passage. The book of Exodus, chapter 14. The entire 14th chapter is about this story. If you have time, read it through. But what I'd especially invite you to pray on are verses 15 to 31. And especially if you were to pray the imagination prayer of St. Ignatius, picturing this scene, it's powerful. Seeing the chaos, seeing the tumult as the people pass through dry shod, pass through the water, led by Moses, and then how God fought on behalf of the people, protecting them and keeping them safe from their oppressors, from their pursuers. One of the things that many Catholics don't necessarily pick up on the symbolism of is that this becomes a precursor for baptism. The people passed through the waters, leaving behind slavery in order to walk into freedom. And this becomes a metaphor for Christian people who pass through the waters of baptism, leaving behind slavery to sin, embracing the new life of Jesus Christ so that they might live the life of freedom in grace and freedom to serve God. Maybe that would be something that we would pray into as well in this image of the Red Sea. The other passage that I wanted us to pray into is the first letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 10. I want you to pray verses 1 through 4. I'll just tell you, if you read the rest of chapter 10, Paul is making an argument or an exhortation towards righteousness. Stay away from sin. But what he says here, and I think that this might be pertinent for what's going on global level, I don't want you to be unaware, brothers and sisters, that our ancestors were all of them under the cloud. All of them passed through the sea. And all of them were baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. All ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink. For they drank from a spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ. For Christians, the sacrament of initiation is baptism. All of us passing through the waters, passing through faith to come to new life in God. Do we experience oneness with other people perhaps differently, having passed into this time of pandemic, this time of social distancing? Maybe in praying with this passage from Corinthians, we might see more the things that unite us rather than the things that divide us. We can read news article after news article of the ways that some of us are reacting poorly and behaving badly, but we can also focus in on the news articles of the ways that our shared experience of this pandemic across languages, across nations and continents, across religions and cultures. This is something that everyone is experiencing in the spring of 2020. Maybe as we pray into that experience of the Red Sea, of unity through shared experiences, we might find some commonality with those who might be very different from us normally. So that's the invitation. If we are in the desert with God, in the desert with Christ, what does it mean? What does it look like? And perhaps to reflect on the Red Sea experience, all of us passing through the same experience, all of us united together in one time, and then also perhaps spending a bit of time praying into the gift of our baptism and our unity in Jesus Christ. Even though we're not gathering, we're still church. Let's continue to pray for each other, offer sacrifice for each other. Know that I'm praying for you. God's grace is more than abundant. God's grace is extraordinary. And the love of God and leaning on our faith is going to get us through all of these times.